can substantiate and you can prove. So there's different things between having some characters.
Right.
Say, oh yeah, there's David.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we can. Oh, Moise, no, I can't. But oh yeah, I can maybe with Ezekiel. Oh, I don't know. I'm saying some characters, but about the prophets, about the miracles that you find inside. Let's take, for example, Genesis chapter 5, yeah?
Right.
The genealogy.
Right.
Anyone who take this genealogy will have some problem.
Right.
Is that true or not?
Well, maybe I don't know what you're saying, but
So actually, it says...
Yeah, but just make your statement.
It gives you, like, for example, I don't know, 4,000 years.
Right, no problem.
Like, between Abraham,
Okay.
or between now,
Right.
okay, Moses,
Okay.
to
yeah,
Adam.
yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Is this genealogy accurate?
Okay, make your statement.
No, I'm asking you, do you believe this
Yes.
genealogy be accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. You will never escape any scientific, not only like scientific, like,
Right.
you will never escape.
Right.
You will have loads of problems
Right.
to justify these terms.
Right.
Christian has been doing for lots of time,
Right.
and they never managed to.
Right.
I can tell you with this genealogy
Right.
that Noah, and I did the calculation myself,
Okay.
Noah died when Abraham was 60 years old. At the time of when Abraham was born, everyone was pagan.
From your own calculations.
No, that's not my calculation. This is Christian calculation, and as well. Have you read the Genesis chapter 5?
Yeah, but you
and
said
11?
from your own studies.
No.
No,
I mean,
but you said he was 60.
he was 60. I
Okay.
mean, have you read this passage?
Yeah, I can't remember his age, but go on.
So I'll show you quickly.
All right.
Genesis chapter 5.
Yeah, but you're substantiating your point.
No, I'm saying
this is
to
another
you,
topic.
No, but I would just would like to challenge to see until when.
No, but you're sort of.
Okay.
But you're bringing in a new subject. So I'm just saying, make your statement because you
my
said.
statement is
Yeah.
you have lots of things in the Bible
Right.
that cannot be back up.
Okay.
Lots of things that cannot
Right.
be back up.
Okay.
But actually what we observe today. And yet you're claiming
Right.
that you can substantiate the Bible. But now you're trying to apply in the Quran, taking some claims
Right.
that obviously historically you cannot obviously always claim or confirm about
Okay.
prophet because there's no remain or trace of everything that happened at that time.
I didn't say it needs to be everything. I'll make it simpler for you.
Yeah, but because
I'll make it very.
No, because you focus
no.
on all the nations.
But I will make it very simple for you.
Yes.
Give me one historical claim in the Quran that's true. One historical claim.
Okay.
I can give you many from the Bible. I can just give you one. So I'm saying, give me one historical claim before the time of Muhammad that we can verify. Out of all the stories in the Quran, you should be able to give me one.
Before the time of the Prophet.
Yes. That people consider a historical fact.
Okay.
Because if it's from God, the stories in the Quran are based on history.
Listen.
So I'm saying, because remember what was my claim?
I know exactly where you're going.
No.
To. I know exactly
no,
where you're
no,
going to.
No, you see, you're about to divert.
No,
and this is
I'm
why.
not diverting. I will
Okay,
explain you
all
why.
right, go on.
I know exactly where you're going to because
Explain.
whatever I'm going to give you,
No.
you understand that was already available. If I talk about Babel and the Tower of Babel or
Right.
Babylon,
Yes.
you can
Okay.
say, okay, listen.
Right.
You can say probably that all this was already available in the Bible, or
Right.
whatever. And even if there's a claim in the historical event that was true, it doesn't necessarily back up the fact that this is revealed by God.
Okay.
That's the problem that you're approaching. I think
So you basically know that there's an issue. For example,
there's no issues.
who built the Kaaba? Who built the Kaaba
Listen.
according to the Quran?
Abraham.
Is that a historical claim?
Well, that's a claim in the
Right.
Quran, yeah.
Is there any Jew or Christian or anyone on the planet or the earth apart from Muslims who believe that?
I don't know for the Jew, I know the Christian not.
Right.
Okay,
So
no
my
problem.
claim would be, you're telling me the Quran claims that Abraham built the Kaaba, and even though we have thousands of years of Jews,
Yes.
thousands of years of Christians,
Yes.
not one of them was aware that Abraham built a Kaaba in
Okay.
Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Do the Jewish knew everything that Abraham did in his life? Do they know everything
Well,
he did in his life?
if the Quran claims that Jews are doing pilgrimage to this place since the time of Abraham,
Jewish?
if
What?
so, are you telling me what was
Oh, mate.
who did pilgrimage to the Kaaba?
Nay, it says that Abraham built this
Right.
house for Ishmael and his,
Right.
and this was a place for worship. But he
Exactly.
did not say it was for himself.
Right, exactly.
This was a place for worship.
For who?
I can create a mosque here
Right.
and a mosque on
Okay.
another place.
A place for worship for who? The descendants of Ishmael.
For the God of Israel,
Yeah.
the God of Abraham.
But who went to the Kaaba to worship?
The first to worship was
Yeah, but afterwards, which?
Ishmael, his descendants.
So the Ishmael would be the
Yes.
Arabs.
And they
Wait,
became pagans.
Wait, okay, wait. The Ishmaelites would be the Arabs, yes?
Listen, yeah.
No, but, okay. Can you give
I'm
me?
just
Wait,
saying-
wait,
I'm
wait,
just
wait,
saying,
wait.
listen,
No,
listen.
you've busted yourself. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Can you give me evidence from pre-Islamic writings from the Arabs that they went to the Kaaba to worship the God of Abraham? Their own claim.
Okay.
So if you're telling me that the Kaaba was built by Abraham for the Ishmaelites descendants, and you're telling me even the Arabs did not write their own history, or there is no folklore saying that Ishmael was the forefather of the Arabs, how can you then tell me
May.
that
I think
it's
May.
historical?
No. I know you're playing a game.
No.
Because you try always to say, oh, you can't back up historically. You can't back up even 5%.
I said,
Listen,
give me
listen.
one
No, no, no,
historical
no, no, no,
claim.
no, no. Listen.
I said one historical claim, not 5%, one.
All the books which are revealed, you can't even back 5% on the Torah or even on the Bible. 5% has been. Listen. You can't listen.
Let me show you evidence.
Listen.
No, so I'm going to show you evidence. To this.
Let me finish.
I'm
and after you
listening.
do.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I said to you,
Right.
you can't back up all the claims that are done in the Bible. Like I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to you, this was prior by the time of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
Like we saying, the son of Ishmael became by after that paganist. They started to worship idols.
What was my question?
Your question was, do we have a proof that these were they worshipping the God of Abraham?
Right.
They were worshipping, they say Allah. We have in our own tradition that they were worshipping Allah as the only true God. They didn't refer to Abraham, whatever, as the creator, as the creator.
Right.
And this one as an pre-Islamic
Right.
tradition. This one
Right.
we have. But they were worshipping other gods
Right.
besides.
So you couldn't. My question was, can you provide me evidence that the Arabs said they did pilgrimage to the Kaaba that was built by Abraham? And you've confirmed that there wasn't. Now you asked me about biblical archaeology. Now we have the Dead Sea Scrolls. We have the priestly amulet.
What is the Dead Sea Scrolls?
The Dead Sea Scrolls was just
I know what
the
is it,
Bible.
but explain.
The Dead Sea Scrolls.
In which way does it confirm historical?
Because I'm saying in terms of the manuscripts of the Bible.
Okay.
But I'm just going to go through some of them.
Yeah,
So,
but these ones.
no problem.
Yeah, but these ones are not
That's
all
fine.
this-
Yeah, but look, I'm showing you all the evidence I have because I have evidence. So I'm showing. I'm going.
Me?
I'm just going. Let's not.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
So we have the priestly amulet.
What is it?
So uncovered in 1970. This was. Is a blessing known from the book of Numbers dating to the 6th century BCE. It is the oldest copy of any biblical text ever.
And then?
Sorry, bro.
So I'm just going to go through.
Containing part of the priestly blessing known from the book of Numbers.
Yeah.
So you got just an amulet.
Yes. But it's
Just
historical.
just an amulet.
That's
with
fine.
the writing
Yes.
of the Bible.
Yes, but I'm going through the archaeological.
I never claimed that these books haven't been written
right,
before
but,
that date.
Yeah, but I'm just going through. I'm just going through.
So they are not
Let's-
historical evidence. They are not
this is-
historical evidence.
Yeah, let's keep going
You know,
through.
okay?
Let's
Let's
keep
go.
going through. So, okay, this one, the Ekron inscription. It provided the final proof of the location of the biblical Ekron. So the Bible is making claims about locations. This is location. This is about Caiaphas from the.
Hold on.
from
What is these inscriptions? Was found since foundation of Philistine temple, honoring the goddess. Okay. Converted to the Hebrew language. Can independent historical source.
So it talks about the Philistines because the Bible claims there was a people called Philistines. So we have evidence outside of the Bible that the Philistines existed, and we can see through this inscription. We have Caiaphas, who was the high priest. We have his ossuary. So we have We'll get to
Okay,
you,
so
if
you,
you want.
can, so you could prove that the Philistines were
Because we
present.
have, because we have outside evidence from the Bible that the Philistines existed.
Okay.
So we got more inscriptions. We've got. Let me get to something
In
substantial
the
that
Quran,
you
and
can.
all the tribes, most of the tribes that were referred to the prophet names,
Right.
we refers to these tribes.
Right.
To these tribes
Let me give.
people.
Because remember, I
Did
asked
you listen to what I said? If that's
Right.
what you want as a historical event,
Yes.
the people that we refer as saying the prophet Hud and the
Right.
different prophets
Okay.
refers as well to some nations
Right.
that we have historical evidence about.
Yeah, but
these ones.
that's saying a person.
No.
But you're saying there's a people. If there's a prophet called Ud, there was a nation called Ud. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, go on.
There was referred to their houses and how they were curving their house in the mountains.
Okay, show me the Quran passage, and then
I'll
we
do
can
it.
see
Okay.
if it's what you're saying it is.
Okay, cool. There's no problem. But like I want to say, I'm just saying.
Because my statement
listen,
to you.
Your claim was to back up historically
Yes.
for things in the Quran. You can do it in many occasions.
So I said, give me one. That's all. My original question was, give me a historical claim from the Quran that we can verify is true, and something that's not alluded to in the Bible, because that's easy. So, I'll give you one. We've got, for example, Pontius Pilate, an inscription, who obviously under Jesus, so we know Pontius Pilate was a real person. The Bible makes the claim that Pontius Pilate was a real person. We have outside evidence that he was a real person by the inscription. So that's what I'm asking for.
The people of Israel also rejected our messengers. We gave them our signs, but they turned their backs.
Okay, so which
They
one?
carved out dwellings in the mountains
Yeah.
and lived in security on the mountains.
Okay, so who's the people of Hijra?
Hijrs.
Yes. Yeah, so read out what it would say in the first, because this is just taken to. Okay, let's go back. No, go back. Yeah, let me just read what that says.
There were people living around.
Okay, right. So that is a claim. Let's just say.
Tribe of Tammuz.
So I'm going to make that simpler.
Listen.
Wait,
I'm saying
wait,
to you,
wait.
where are you coming from?
Wait.
Actually I want to say is.
But you're diverting from
I'm not
the point
diverting. I
I'm
give you an
trying to
example,
make.
but I know exactly where you want to go.
Where do I want to go?
The problem is.
No,
the
but
problem
you.
is,
The thing
when
is,
you're
it's
taking
going to
the
go in that
Bible-
direction.
No.
Because you know yourself what I'm trying to say.
No.
But that's why you're diverting. You won't let me make my point.
That's not this, because I know you try to. You're not listening to me, and you want to go in a certain way.
It's going in that direction. Why? Because the
It's not
direction
going
was
in that
the
direction.
reason why, and we're
Unless-
going to conclude.
Because I thought we were having a nice conversation.
Yes, but the reason why it's
You're
going in that
saying-
direction.
Listen, you're saying statements. There were some statements.
Right.
Most of the historical events that we have in the earth,
Right.
we have no record of it.
Right.
We don't know what Abraham did during his whole life, and we don't know what exactly Jacob did exactly during his life, or even what Jesus said everything during 30 years of preaching. Now, what actually you're saying is, or because you don't have other people claiming these things, then this is not historical, and then this is not. But if you do find some people claiming the same things, then you copied it from them.
Where did I say that?
You said that especially for the Apocrypha.
I'm saying, yeah, exactly.
It's the same.
Why is it called Apocrypha?
I said Apocryphal.
Right.
He's been rejected, you said, because he was the father of the church.
Okay.
And they rejected those texts, but they have no proof that he hasn't been transmitted orally, because most of these books, exactly like Luke,
Right.
they gather the information orally and they put it down.
But here's the problem. You accused Luke of not being there.
He said it himself. He said
listen
it
to what
himself.
you said. Now you said that makes his claims unreliable.
No, I said this is not revealed by God because he said himself, I came to connect to people.
So if the story of Jesus making a clay bird that goes back to the 2nd century, you're saying that was revealed. So we should accept that.
No.
A story that doesn't even originate from the time of Jesus should be accepted because the Quran 700 years later says it's a true story, is what I'm asking you.
No. Listen.
Right.
I said to you that this story were amongst the one that has been gathered. This was oral transmission at that time. Yes. Some of them has been taken, some of them hasn't been taken.
Right.
Luke, by his first chapter,
Right.
completely destroyed the Christian belief that this is fully inspired. Whatever you think, someone with not...
But you need to know what's inspired means.
Yeah. He took the pen...
It doesn't mean revealed, like directly, verbatim.
Yeah, but you do believe that he has been guided by God, guided.
Right.
That's what you believe. But this is proven by... He isn't proven.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm saying somebody that will write these things...
Anyway, we're going to wrap up.
He will never believe such
Right.
things, okay? Now, what actually I want to say to you is the Gospels itself are not 100% reliable. How can you explain that some verse has been added in the Gospels?
Right.
How can you explain it in the manuscript?
Because you had, again, you're diverting.
I'm asking you now.
No, because this is
At the
why.
beginning we were talking about the Bible.
We've gone to how do we know it's reliable? A minute ago we were speaking about giving evidence of claims within the text that can be historically verified. You've gone back and circled back to how do we know whether this text should be in the Bible or not. That wasn't my question, because I said to you, if we have a claim from certain books and we want to substantiate beyond blind faith, the only way we can do that is to look at all the claims it makes and ask ourselves, are these claims historical or not? So the more historical claims we can put together with the faith aspect tells us this book aligns more with history. So what you're doing is, that's why I'm asking you, can you give me the historical statements made in the Quran that we can establish elsewhere? Then you've gone diverted and then said, how come we have a passage in the Bible and then sometimes they're not in the Bible? How do we resolve this?
Firstly, we were talking about the book of Luke, and I said to you a statement, okay?
Right.
You went back to the Quran and you asked me about what historical tribe that we can refer to by archaeological remains, so like proof.
Yes.
I gave you an example by Tammuz. Obviously, you're going to go for it. You're going to have a look at it. And then we came back to the book of Luke. You said you'd start talking to Luke. And I said to you, how, since we've been talking about the Quran, I said to you, you claim that this book has been written by someone guided by God.
Right.
And I said to you, how can you believe that this is preserved when verses has been added on the Gospels and are not present on the previous...
Again, if I'm saying how is it reliable, not whether it's inspired, the point goes back to the fact is, if a book makes a claim, if a book makes a claim from eyewitnesses and we find that some of these things are historical, I showed you, for example, Pontius Pilate existed.
Otherwise I would just take my history book and I would call it the Gospel.
But
it doesn't make
here's
sense
the problem.
what you're saying.
We both have books which we believe are inspired by God. I can say I can use your example and say, well, I believe the Gospels was inspired by God, therefore it's true. That is your argument.
Okay, listen,
No, let me finish. Your argument is the Quran is from God, therefore it's true.
Okay.
If I say that same standard to the Bible, then you'll say, well, how come you got this text, that text?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, let me just finish. My claim, because you're saying you would not accept if I said, I believe it's from God, therefore it's true. So you're asking about more substantial evidence. When you say you want me to accept that the Quran is true because it's from Allah, because you've not given me any outside evidence.
I said to you, if you want to discuss about the veracity of the Quran and the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's another subject. I said I believe the Quran being inspired by God. You did agree that not 100% of the things that we may find on the book, either the Quran or the Torah or the Gospels, may be maybe checked or even find
Empirical, yes.
You can't find anything
Right.
for 100% of the things.
Yes.
We made a statement about the prophet being in the nation. If you don't find any name of a prophet, so be it.
Right.
Prove it is wrong. You can't. That's a matter of belief.
No.
You believe or you don't believe. That's
Right.
it. You took it as being the Quran. That's part of the thousands of the verse in the Quran. I do believe of so. You don't believe it. That's fine.
Right.
I said to you, we talk about the preservation of the Quran.
Right.
We said that it was very limited to the structure, to the vowels. I said to you, how can you believe this is preserved, the Gospels are preserved, when you have some verses which has been added and doesn't exist in the
Right.
old manuscript? And I just want the answer.
Again,
And
but
you can't
what
conclude
is
in
your
that.
definition of preserve? Because
Okay.
again,
There's
wait.
eight-
Okay, actually, sorry, let me
Okay,
answer
cool.
that. First of all, that's why I said the beginning of the faith is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So therefore, if I'm looking at this claim made in the Bible, that's the first thing, the basis of the Christian faith. I said to you that the crucifixion and the death and the crucifixion of Jesus Christ can be affirmed even outside of the Bible. This is why, one of the first reasons why I would believe this. The book claims to be from eyewitnesses.
It doesn't make sense. Sorry.
So I'm saying to you, if there's a claim that this book is inspired by God, and that I find outside evidence that supports that there was, for example, a crucifixion, this for me then says that claim that they made that this happened is true. Now, if I go through every single claim in the Bible, not everything is attested outside of the Bible, but I have not been given a reason as to believe why it's not true. You're, for example, saying, well...
Okay. Can I just put a small pause
Right.
and I respond to that? Mate, otherwise I would just talk a history book.
Right.
And then we will believe that we just add some historical
Right.
events. We build up a story.
Let me-
Listen. We build up a story
Right.
and then after we make it from
Right.
the name of God. I'm not going to do this.
Right.
This is not a proof. You can't tell me because it talks about the resurrection and I can't prove that there's a resurrection. Therefore, I substantially believe this is from God. Do you know how many books I can produce?
But this is the problem. How,
You understand what you're saying?
No, but this is the problem. You're destroying your own religion.
No.
Okay,
no,
because
no.
I will
Don't
say
use
to
your
you.
psychological
No.
technique. Stick on
But
your-
no,
stick
because
on
this
your
is what I'm
lines,
saying
mate.
to you. Let me ask you two questions. You got an insect there.
No.
How?
said-
Let me ask you a
keep
simple
on what
question.
you say regarding the
Let me
Bible.
ask you a
Keep
simple
on
question.
what you're saying regarding the
Let me
Bible.
ask you a question.
Just with the Bible. What-
Yeah, that's
no,
fine.
no.
I will stick on the Bible.
I just want to
I'm
confuse
asking
you
you
on
a
this.
question.
Tell me.
I'm asking you. What do you think is sufficient evidence to prove something is reliable?
Mate, you have no. I will tell you something.
Go on.
You just have faith.
No.
You're looking.
You're not answering my question.
Listen.
No. I asked you a specific question.
Listen,
I asked
yeah.
you a specific question. Please answer the question. I said, in your opinion, what makes something reliable? And give me your opinion, and then we can
Listen.
substantiate. Because wait, you're saying the Bible isn't reliable based on the evidence I've given you.
I'm not,
So I'm saying to you, you're saying how do we know? So I'm saying to you,
Listen,
what in your reality constitutes something that would demonstrate that something is reliable or true?
Listen, I would say something would be reliable
Right.
if you could prove something would be reliable
Right.
if textually, in
Right.
terms of language, you have no reason
Right.
to doubt that this hasn't been inspired. Even in that case, you don't believe that it hasn't been
Give me
inspired.
an
It's been guided.
What does that mean?
Okay, for example, you as the Lord, as Elohim speaks, you know, like in the Old Testament, when you speak all the prophets,
Right.
yeah? When the Lord's, when,
So you're saying, if
Okay,
it
okay.
says, I the Lord say, then for you, that is evidence it's from God.
Listen.
Is that what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
no, I'm not
Okay.
saying, listen. I'm saying this is a matter of faith. Every single one brings his belief to whatever he wants. Whatever, it's not he wants. He gets convinced or he believes what he thinks is the truth.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question. I
I'm
asked
saying
you,
to you.
you rejected the evidence I gave you. Yes?
You're
So
telling
I'm
me
saying-
the only reason why the gospel
Wait,
is so
no.
true is
Let me
because
finish.
the
Let me finish.
crucifixion
Let me
is a
finish. No,
historical
let me
event.
finish. You rejected even the Luke's account. So I'm saying to you a very clear question. What to you constitutes evidence that something is reliable, that something can be taken as reliable?
Something can be taken as
Yes.
reliable. You mean in transmission? In terms
I'm
of,
saying, what would you like to see
that's
from the
very
Bible?
broad as a question.
You know,
have to-
I'm giving you evidence and you're rejecting it. So I'm saying, let's
Which
cut.
evidence?
I'm saying we appeal to Luke. You said we can't trust it, basically.
I didn't say that. I said, my God, that's so simple, mate.
Right.
I said to you, mate. I didn't say that 100% of what he's saying is wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying when a Jude, if something, for example, if Jesus says,
Yes.
so I has been sent by
Right.
God or whatever.
Right.
If Jesus write these words, then we can say, okay, then the author has been given, and then
Right.
we know that he's recognized by the whole nation.
No problem.
Okay. When someone
Right.
comes up and say, "Hey, my name is Adam,"
Right.
and I'm just gathering the information, I try to gather as much as I can,
Right.
gathering all the transmission that we receive from the witness,
Right.
and then we gather it, and then we compiled it in this book. I'd say, okay, you did your historian job.
Right.
I compare Luke, I compare John, I compare Mark, I compare Matthew.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, there's difference between the stories.
Right.
Some of the verse are purely identical.
Right.
Some are different.
Right.
Some verse doesn't exist on the old manuscripts.
Right.
And I'm just saying you can see a distortion.
Right.
How can you cope
Right.
with the fact that this verse doesn't exist in the old manuscript? Can you answer me just this question?
But again,
You don't want to
no,
answer.
but I'm
You don't
answering you.
want. So tell me.
I've given you example. I've said, for example, in the old manuscripts, we have different variants within the manuscripts. So we can compare all the manuscripts to find out what the base original text would say. Because if, for example, you have one manuscript, maybe someone didn't write the complete story. You have another manuscript here, someone wrote 3/4 of the story. You have a manuscript there, someone wrote all of it. You compare them all together, and then you can elucidate what was on the original text.
Okay, so for you the manuscript doesn't matter.
I just gave you an example.
No, you
I'm
say you compare, because
exactly. So you don't have one single manuscript because things get rewritten. A manuscript doesn't last forever.
Okay.
Some get ripped. Some have scribal mistakes.
people had comments and it
exactly.
becomes part
So
of
that's
the-
why your question isn't making sense,
Okay.
because I'm saying
So what do you say to the Christian
Right.
that received those verses that
Right.
were initially a comment and became part of the text?
like what?
Some of the verses were comments on the march, or the march.
Right. How would you know it's a comment on the margin?
Well, most of the Christian scholar, you can.
Right.
Make your
There's
research.
your answer.
No, it's not my answer.
No, you've just answered your question, because the fact that you know it was on the margins means that we have the evidence supports that. So whether you want to take it or not is up to you. But the fact is, you answered it, because I said, how do you know? You said it was by the scholars. So meaning they've looked through the manuscripts,
different
compared
manuscript,
it,
exactly.
and they've noticed that. So that's what I just said to you. You look at the different manuscripts.
They did it.
Right.
But they did it long after. For the Christian that lived during this medieval period, they couldn't.
Right. So
They
what
didn't
about
do
the
it.
original eyewitnesses?
If they took this verse as being from God, what do you
Right.
say then to them?
They can, because in terms of their authority of their
So the person who wrote in the
yeah. So what you have to understand is that even with the Bible, let's just say, I'm going to make a stillman your point. Let's just say there's fake stories within the attributes of Jesus. Let's just say that. Most of those things do not actually contribute to the whole Christian belief.
That's what I'm saying to you. I don't want to
Right.
even in this kind of
So
discussions.
because that's why you're taking it all over the place. So that's why I said the belief, the Christian faith is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So now, if you want to bring something that contradicts if you brought a manuscript that said the crucifixion didn't happen, that is a bigger concern to Christians than one text saying John gave Adam something with his left hand, and the other text saying John gave Adam something with his right hand. That doesn't contradict our faith. For you, you're trying to say, well, how can it be reliable? I'm saying to you, give me a manuscript that says that the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ did not happen. Give me a manuscript that says one of the big artifacts of our faith didn't happen. Then you have an argument to say, well, why should you believe this as reliable? Okay. What you're doing, like the stoning of the woman of adultery, let's say you don't take that as inspired by God. That doesn't change the Christian faith. I'm saying, if you think it's a big problem, you have to bring something that substantially contradicts what we believe in. So that's why I said the stoning of the adultery woman, if you don't take it, it doesn't contradict the Christian faith. You can say it's not reliable. Whether you accept it or not,
it doesn't contradict the Christian faith.
Yes, because it's not a main doctrine is not built on that one verse.
Yeah, but the thing's, one verse is one verse.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, if these can be like that,
right.
What about others?
Right. So now, I'm glad you asked that, because now when I provide you the evidence that the Quranic manuscripts show the exact same thing, I want you to ask yourself the same question. How can the Quran be taken as reliable when we have different versions of the Quran? And that's why I said to you, read the Salah manuscript. I said to
you admitted yourself just
again,
over there that you was slight difference in
we-
volumes.
no,
You showed me.
okay,
This is what that's for the camera that you're doing it, mate.
this is what
I
happened.
think that's for the camera that you're doing it.
Wait.
You change your speech from there.
No, I'm going to show you, because Siraj came.
that's
Siraj came, and I was trying to show you the evidence. I said to you the Sana pamphlet set, and then you changed the topic because I was going.
There is no such
Okay,
verse.
all right.
That wasn't in the old.
All right. If I show you a verse now and give you evidence, what will you do?
Nah, I know what you're saying.
No.
No. I know
Answer
what
the
you try. You
question.
try to corner me.
Right,
Listen,
you see?
listen.
But
No,
you
of
said it
course.
doesn't exist.
No, I'm
so how
saying
can I corner you?
I haven't heard of any
All right.
of this.
Okay, I'm going to show you. Right. Because Siraj came and interrupted.
And I said to you
Right.
that there is the old tradition and we have some manuscripts.
Oral tradition cannot be proven, and I'm saying you the empirical evidence we do have contradicts the
old
oral
tradition
tradition.
can be truly proven because we have the same madrasa that we have 1,400 years ago.
No.
What do you mean no?
I'm going to show you everything you say. I'm going to show you something that
Yeah,
contradicts.
okay, cool. But mate, you cannot make a claim on the. I'm just saying, cannot make a claim on the Bible saying this is substantially from God because there's historical evidence that is correct, mate. Because I'm telling you, you will be in the problem. And
Okay.
again,
Here's from. Do you want from the hadith? Will you accept the hadith?
it depends which hadith. Is that Sahih?
Yeah, this one is Sahih Muslim.
Even though it's a Sahih, it's not because it's in Sahih Muslim that it's Sahih.
Well, you can check the chain yourself.
Okay, let me just.
You can check. Take a picture. Just check it at home. Because always. That's why they call me Paperboy. I bring in the receipts. And I want you to find me that verse in the Quran. And that's why I said to you.
Let me just. However, that's not the first time I heard this kind of hadith. Just to let you know.
No, it's not. It's not a claim by Christians. It's
No.
So I'm saying
that's in the traditions like that, but this
Right,
is not the
so-
first time. Let me just. Come.
okay. So I ask if you accept it or reject it on what grounds? Because
What ground?
this is why I always bring evidence, because people will claim, oh, these things that didn't exist, or Muslims have been lied to about preservation, and I know
It's not lying to me. I made my own research, man.
well, you did. I'll show you
I heard
more.
already this kind of
Right.
hadith.
So do you agree that that verse is not in the Quran as of today?
Listen. Surah.
And I'll read it for the
Why do you
audience.
do not practice, and that is recorded in your notes as a religious history.
Yeah. And I'll read it out just for people who are watching so they can
Let me
research this
just,
themselves.
let me just take it.
And I'll give you some time to think about your
We use
answer.
the surah which we send. Okay, cool.
Right.
Okay,
And I'll just so people who are watching, it says, this is Sahih Muslim 1050, and it says, we used to recite a surah which resembled in length to 70 to Surah Barat. I have, however, forgotten it with exception of this, which I remember out of it. If there were two valleys of full riches for the son of Adam, he would long for a third valley, and nothing would fill the stomach of the son of Adam but dust. And we used to recite a surah which resembled one of the surahs or Musabahir, and I have forgotten it, but I remember this much of it. O people who believe, why do you say that which you do not practice? And that is recorded in your necks as a witness against you, and you would be asked about it on the day of resurrection. We do not find that one in the Quran. And I'll give you one more hadith. This is from Sunan Ibn Majah, 1944. It says, it was narrated that Aisha said the verse of stoning and breastfeeding an adult 10 times was revealed, and the paper was with me under my pillow. When the messenger of Allah died, we were preoccupied with his death, and a tame sheep came in to eat it. So there's more, because what Muslims will say is that verse is abrogated.
Yes.
But it was replaced by a verse of 5 sucklings. So this one was 10. So this one's breastfeeding 10 times, but it was reversed with a verse of suckling 5 times, which is what. So this one,
Listen.
for argument's sake, I will say, because that's what Muslims say, it was abrogated. However, there's a verse, and I'll show you the hadith.
Yeah.
It was replaced by a verse of 5, and that's the one we cannot find.
I'm saying to you, since you know already about the abrogation, at
Yeah.
the same time,
Yeah.
if you're taking some hadith like that, there is as well loads of scholars,
Right.
many scholars, that claim the non-authenticity of this hadith, because this is singular.
But listen to what I said. This hadith, the Islamic narrative is this one was abrogated, right? So I'm not. That's what you're appealing
Well, you
to. I'm
said-
saying no.
You said there's another narration.
No. I said this verse
Yeah.
was replaced by another verse of 5 sucklings.
Okay.
So that.
Where do you see it?
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Okay, cool.
So that's why this one I'm not going to make an
Okay, show
argument, because that's what Muslims do.
Show it. And by the way, the hadith of the Muslim that you're mentioning
Yeah.
is as well abrogated.
Is abrogated.
That's what he says.
How was it abrogated? Can give the explanation, because remember the Quran says we have to repeat. We will replace it with something better or cause it to be forgotten. So show me where it meets one of those criteria that your prophet forgot it.
What do you mean forgot it?
Yeah. So what is the criteria for abrogation?
No. Well, the verse is talking about abrogation, bringing something equivalent
Right.
or something better.
So what is the equivalent or better that it was replaced
I'm
by?
just saying that this verse,
You can't appeal without evidence.
What do you
That's
mean?
what I'm saying. You're saying it was abrogated. I'm saying substantiate that claim
okay,
with evidence. Because what people do, if they say, oh, it's not there, oh, it was abrogated. No, we're actually showing you the evidence that things were. Because if you're reading what the scholar says, he should be able to explain why it was abrogated or replaced with something better. Because that's why I'm using your own criteria against the Bible to say if that's what you believe, then apply that same standard to the Quran.
yeah, but the thing is, in terms of transmissions, everything that is transmitted mutawatir, and especially something which is ahad, cannot go against something which is transmitted generally as mutawatir. That's a principle.
It's a claim, but we want
I would say you would
substantiation.
find loads of things in the hadith.
Just the same way you said to me, how can we, well, you asked me so much about Luke. I'm
Yes.
asking, I didn't say, because if I said Luke said it's true, you will say no. So because you're saying it's mutawatir, one, substantiate that with evidence, not just a claim
That's
that I
not-
should believe.
Mutawatir means something which is so much widespread.
But I said there was eyewitnesses. You said that is not sufficient.
No. You said, I didn't say that. I just said that you claim that the Luke, the book of Luke was from God, and you can substantiate it because there's a historical event which was the crucifixion.
Can you substantiate the mutawatir of that?
The mutawatir of what?
You said if it's mutawatir.
Yeah, the Quran, the transmission of the Quran, as I said to you, there's the oral transmission, and we have as well the text. You admitted yourself that in all the manuscript that we have, there was slight variance, and you showed me the screenshots from the experts, and the difference was very small.
This is the same Islamic scholar. You can search his name. Don't take my word on it. But this is what the scholars say.
Canonical reader that is also modern.
So it says there is no evidence I've just taken screenshots.
Yeah, but okay.
So you can research it for yourself.
We have our own.
Exactly,
okay,
a claim that cannot be evidence. That's what I'm saying.
You're using the how do you say the Orientalist method. You're Orientalist.
Orientalist. What's wrong with the Orientalist?
Listen. You're using these own methods
Yes.
because they reject our tradition.
Right.
That we came. Listen. All the tradition, all the transmission that we
Right.
came with the Quran, which is mutawatir,
Right.
all of this,
Right.
they are not accepting those claims or those transmissions.
So is your transmission based on evidence or blind faith?
It's not blind faith.
So
it's
why
just
do not
transmission.
why do the Orientalists not agree with it?
They don't take the transmission which was given by their own religion. It's the same way that they don't.
No, it's they only accept empirical evidence. That's
So,
what historians do.
Okay.
So when you make a claim,
Listen, empirical evidence in the
Right.
same way, they say that there's no historical evidence that Abraham existed.
this is the claim
Listen,
I was making.
they,
Read that. This one about the Sana manuscript. This that.
Anyway, you show me this comparison that we have been doing the manuscripts, and we saw this was completely minor.
No. But listen to read what it says. There's big differences, is what I'm saying. When you go home, don't take my word on it. I'm saying to you, don't take my word on it. Just
I
research.
don't need. Listen, I did already my research. I know that you may find some slight difference in the pronunciation, but again, in the manuscript compared to the manuscript, again, the oral transmission. This is something which is observed in all the nation, the Islamic nation,
Right.
through all the mosques.
So you don't have any. All your evidence.
Exactly,
all your
listen,
evidence is
mate.
trust me, bro.
Mate, it's not trust me.
So how can I substantiate oral transmission?
It's the same when they're coming and they're telling you, how do we know that from the time of Jesus to that time, all the gospel has been transmitted correctly?
Yeah, but I'm asking you about the
No. I'm telling you because you're doing a double standard.
No, I'm doing a double standard because you're the one who threw the accusation at me. So I'm throwing the same accusation back to you to say substantiate what you believe, what you're claiming.
No. I said to you, we have clear evidence.
Which is what?
We have clear evidence that that firstly in Luke
Right.
claimed not to be inspired by God, but he said that he gathered the historical information.
And you said we can't trust it.
Listen, no, I didn't say you can't trust it. I just said this is not infallible. It can be, you can have some false information and you can have some right information.
Okay.
And I said to you, in the manuscripts that you have nowadays,
Right.
or even during the medieval age,
Right.
some of the verse doesn't exist on the old manuscript.
Right. And I've given you examples where there's verses in the Quran that existed that don't exist now, and you said
Mate.
they were abrogated.
No.
That was your excuse.
No. That's not
If
my
I
excuse.
said-
You admitted yourself.
If I said to
listen,
you
listen, mate.
they were abrogated, you wouldn't have accepted that. You would say, but look, there's variations in the manuscript. I can appeal to say, well, that's how God intended it to be. That's what you're giving me.
No. You're using some of the hadith that we have from our own heritage,
Yes.
saying that some of the verses
Right.
has been abrogated.
It
All
didn't
the
say it's
scholars-
abrogated.
Huh?
It didn't say it's abrogated. It said he couldn't remember it.
No, he said some of them couldn't remember it,
Right.
but it wasn't part of this because there was all the others. Explain me this. The person said, I can't remember it,
Right.
and there's all the other Sahaba.
Right.
They learned the Quran as well.
Right.
So
So
how do
if they learned all the Quran, why did Uthman burn all the Qurans?
Because there were new Muslims coming in.
Pardon?
There were new Muslims coming in, and the population of the Muslims
Right.
began to rise, and there
Right.
were non-Arab speaking Muslims coming into Islam.
Listen,
so he had to.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Go ahead.
Right.
So I
I
interrupted.
said to you, listen, the same way that you were talking about the manuscript and the slight changes and the vowels and the way to pronunciate it, in the same way, he collected the Quran and all the manuscripts,
Right.
the papers that was here and there of different surah, instead of having spread out,
Right.
he just gathered everything in one mushaf
Right.
and he sent different copies in
Right.
the empire. In that claim, you're just putting suspicions on what he did.
So-
Look what he did.
But this is the point.
He's hiding something.
But this is the point. Why didn't he send out a hafiz? Why did he send out a manuscript? If the oral tradition is so important, even more reliable than the textual transmission, he would have sent out a hafiz. You don't need to write down the
You're
Quran
the first-
if it's a
yeah,
recitation.
you're the first proof of people.
Right.
You're the answer to your question.
Right.
You're someone
Right.
that is ready to find any text, any manuscript,
Right.
and coming and say, look, there is a difference in pronunciation.
Right.
Well, you admitted that there was very slight.
Wait.
So I'm saying.
But let me clarify. Let me just clarify. Yeah, but let me clarify my point.
Let me just finish.
You're misquoting.
Let me
You're
just finish.
misquoting me.
I finish. I said to you,
Right.
Uthman had different papers, different surah
Right.
split. It wasn't books. It was surah split here and there. It's like, for example, having the chapter 5 of Luke, chapter 1 of Luke spread it. And there was as well all the people learning Quran by orally, yeah? He just burned all these papers and he gathered everything.
Let me clarify because you misquoted me. And are you aware? Some of the companions had different numbers of surahs in the Quran. Ibn Masud had 116 surahs.
But then they agreed together.
Right.
They had a discussion.
Right. So
and
if
then
every Quran is the same, how come he had 116 if they were all memorized the same?
No.
So now you're comparing.
Right.
No. This is a shubha. That's well famous. That's famous.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I remember this was a long time.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
Exactly.
Which companion?
Right.
Which companion?
Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah
Right.
ibn Mas'ud.
Now, Abdullah ibn Masud's codex was different from the Uthmanics.
Correct. And he didn't
Right.
burn his Quran.
Right, so this is
So
my
it
point.
stayed
He
with him.
said
No.
they say all the verses are the same.
Yeah.
There's no changes. But if his was different, it means there was a big differences between his because he was very reluctant to give up his because he had heard the recitation
Exactly.
from the
He heard
Prophet.
around more than 70
Right.
surahs from the
Right.
Prophet directly.
Exactly. So now what happens is now when Uthman made one Quran, Muslims today believe that there's only one Quran without variation. They're not even aware of Ibn Masud's
The
codex, for
Quran
example.
itself,
Yeah, but it doesn't
originally,
mean
when
that
it
there
came
was-
down, when it was revealed,
Right.
it came down in different, what do you call it?
Recitation.
Recitations.
Recitation,
Qira'at.
yeah.
Right.
So, Uthman, one of the reasons that he wanted to uniform
Right.
the Quran into one mushaf or a couple of mushafs.
No,
is
one.
is to preserve these
Right.
and to uniform it.
So where did the other 6 go? Because if he made one mushaf,
he
where
sent
did
it
this,
out. He sent it out.
if there was 7 recitations
Yeah.
and he made one mushaf
Yes.
that was written in the Quraysh dialect, what happened to the other?
No, there aren't. In fact, all of the 7, some argue are 10, they're still memorized today.
Wait. So if there's 7, how can there be 10?
10, the 3 others
Right.
are not really, what do you call it? Mujma' alayha. I don't know how to translate it.
Agreed on
it.
So are they- so are you
there-
saying?
So we have different types of chains.
Right, so
we
are
have,
you
we have a
saying-
sahih chain,
Right.
that's the strongest chain. We
Right.
have a da'if,
Right.
that we're not very...
Right.
Yeah,
so are
we-
you saying there's Muslims out there
Yeah.
that believe the 3 are from God when they're not from God? Because either they are from God.
We're not saying that you can't. So what we do is
Right.
you can't really use them in prayer.
Right.
These other 3.
So why
or
is there a
other?
but why is there a dispute? Because some people believe that they are from God. That's why there's a. That's why they believe it's either 7
The same
10.
applies to Sunnah. The same applies to Hadith.
Right.
There are sayings of the Prophet that aren't authentic.
Right.
But that's the thing that you
That's
have
the
to
thing.
accept because I know that you're very happy to
Yeah.
find some
Exactly,
hadith.
exactly.
But listen, I know you're very happy with it to find some hadith like that because it gives you some materials to go forward. But I'm not using the apocryphal against you. I could do, but I'm not doing it.
No, but we're talking about preservation and how we got to the Quran that we have today.
Mate,
And
I can speak about what the Ibn says.
Yeah, but many
and then
Muslims. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Many Muslims, because what they will say is every Quran is letter for letter, haraka for haraka, exactly the same, which is a lie. Because even if you have the different readings, the readings are not letter for letter, haraka for haraka, exactly.
Yeah,
the
but
same.
this has been agreed. Listen, even if that's
How?
the case, listen.
Each qira'ah is letter by letter, haraka by haraka the same.
Listen,
Hafs
listen,
and
listen,
Asim is letter by letter,
Even
haraka
if
by
that's
haraka
the
the
case,
same.
Is it the same as the Duri or the Wash?
Warsh is a different qira'ah now.
Right.
You can't compare. Warsh,
Exactly.
it's
But that's what I'm saying. Is the Duri a Quran?
all of this collectively is the Quran, basically. All of this collectively, including the different qira'ah.
Okay, is the Hafs letter for letter, dot for dot, exactly the same as the Wash?
is King James Bible.
Don't
things like
divide.
that.
You see, don't divide to the Bible. I didn't make that claim. I'm asking you.
Listen,
I didn't make the claim
You
about
can't.
King James.
How can you compare?
I said to you, Muslims claim every single version of the Quran is letter for letter, haraka for haraka, exactly the same. So I asked you, is the Hafs Quran letter for
You're
letter?
comparing two different qira'ahs. How can they be the same?
Exactly.
If they have
My
already
point
two.
is-
But you don't understand, this has been announced that way.
No,
if we say
no.
from the beginning this different
Yeah,
qira'at,
exactly.
Not every
Exactly.
Muslim has
listen,
knows
listen,
that.
listen,
That's
listen.
what my point
If we
is.
announce that there's different qira'at, then that's it. We're
Exactly.
talking
Okay.
listen,
Right.
we're talking
He
about the
knows now.
preservation from that day
Because he
until
knows,
now,
I'm
and
going
that's
to
it.
ask you a more pressing question.
Yeah.
You said there's qira'at.
Qira'at, yeah.
What is the aruf? Haruf?
I think it's just really,
Yeah, haruf.
listen,
Letters.
Right.
Letters.
So-
أنزل القرآن على 7 أحرف. This is one of the
Okay.
narrations.
So now you're saying Qurans have different letters and recitation.
The translation of letters is not.
So how can every Quran even be the same if their letters are different?
No, it's letter is the Arabic word. It's not
Yes.
the exact translation of the word into English. It's not actually.
Yeah, but in
it's not-
Arabic it's
you
not
can-
exactly the same.
No, it is the same. So Hafs and Asim compared to if I memorize Quran, if I memorize Quran, Hafs and Asim,
wanted to
and
talk
my
about
brother,
theology,
yeah,
wanted to talk about
exactly.
No, but this is preservation.
yeah, but I'm telling you, the thing is,
Right.
you can't prove.
Yeah.
You're just giving some hadith that we are not even
Yeah.
sure is
So-
sahih.
so if
You're
you
taking
quiz us-
some. Listen, we're taking some apocryph, which are single. Well, actually, I said to you, the transmission we have Uthman. Okay, but you have to prove. You have to prove that it completely changed the Quran,
Yeah.
or remove verse.
And
which
you
cannot.
I gave you a verse.
you
And
realize
you said it was abrogated.
Yeah. You
The verse
realize-
about the Adam and the valleys.
Do you
I
realize that
say-
there were hundreds of thousands of companions at
Yeah.
the time of Uthman?
Right.
Why did they keep quiet if he changed the Quran?
Because he was the caliphate and they have to listen to him. Ibn Masud,
No,
wait.
no,
Did
we don't
Ibn
have-
Masud listen to him?
So he did. You actually have evidence that evidence goes against you.
Go on. What did
Yes.
Ibn Masud? What happened with Ibn Masud?
This evidence goes against you. So were there other Ibn Mas'uds as you claim? There weren't.
Yes, there were.
Who?
Oh, okay. Let me.
Out of the hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
Out of
Just
the
to let
hundreds
you know,
of
just to
thousands.
let you know historically as well.
I'll
Just to
go.
let
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
just to
yeah.
let you know historically as well.
Yes.
You have to know that by the time of Uthman ibn Affan, the Islamic Empire had already spread out
Exactly.
in North Africa, where actually I'm from. So I'm saying to you, if we were meant to see, and then eventually after the Umayyad, during the Umayyad time, there was a kind of conflict. They had different wars or whatever. But if there was different version of the Quran, you would find as well the Shia having different versions of the Quran. There was Shias. Sorry,
The Shia.
there was Shiism. There was Shiism.
The Shias of today. Or are you saying they're different Shias?
I'm saying the people that were back in the days, there was as well group like which were opposed
Right.
politically, yeah?
Yeah.
If there was different Quran or different recitation, even by this time,
Yes.
this would have been still claimed.
But this is the
Exactly,
thing, the
yeah.
Shias of today do not accept the six of the readings. They only say there was one kira of there's one kira. They say there's only one reading, according to the Shias.
Yeah, but
that's why I was asking you
Listen.
specifically. So the Sunnis
but
say
the
there was
Quran they
different-
have, but the Quran they have is the same as we
Yeah,
have.
but this
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
no, but here's
Now,
the problem.
I will ask you a
no, but let
question.
me just finish because you interjected what I was saying. The problem is, according to the Sunni hadith, which Shias reject, they do not accept the hadith about the 7 recitations. So they
Fine.
will argue that there was one to follow. So
Go ahead.
as someone who's not Muslim, why should I accept your hadith when the Shias are
Don't-
saying there's
Listen,
only
listen,
one
listen,
Quran?
listen. Don't listen.
Don't
But that
accept
would
it.
be like
No,
an evidence
so-
that
listen.
there's differences.
No. So
Like I
let's-
said to you, the
Go ahead.
transmission.
And
Okay,
I'll let you-
there's people in the whole Muslim Empire that are learning the Quran heart by heart. Even by the time of Hajjaj ibn Yusuf Thaqafi,
Right.
which was like a long time ago next to the companions, there were still people learning the Quran by heart in the whole Muslim Empire. They were teaching it, yeah?
Right.
This is true, and we have Islamic Empire. Even in Morocco, by the time of like the Salaf, which is maybe 100 years after the Prophet ﷺ, there was the first Islamic school, which it was in Fes.
Right.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Qayrawan.
Qayrawan. In all this country, they were learning the Quran. They teaching the Quran heart by heart. Now, I would like to understand your view. are you saying that Uthman completely changed the Quran?
I'm saying Uthman compiled what was around. In a nutshell, let me just say yes, he did.
Okay,
He didn't
prove it.
now.
Prove
now
it.
I'll explain. That's fine. So now, when he changed it, it doesn't mean that he changed the words, letters, or anything
What
like
did he
himself.
change?
What it means, he left out verses, and that's why, for example, I appealed to Ibn Masud's Codex. There will be verses in Ibn Masud's Codex which are not in the Quran that
one?
you have today.
Do you
I'll
have
find-
evidences of
I'll
these?
find the evidence. I always bring evidence.
No.
because it's a
Evidence
speaker's corner.
of the exact verses.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just. I always bring evidence.
لا لأن
Not even
ابن
the
مسعود
chapters.
had
We'll
a
go to
difference
the-
يعني
No.
ها؟
Tell me.
اي لا هو كان عنده 116 اي لا هو كان عنده 116 سورة وبينما الأصحاب الثانيين 114 بس بعدين خلاص هو اقتنع بالنهاية ها؟ He then agreed يعني with the rest he agreed with the rest of the companions in the end.
And also, he keeps saying the Quran, but different class Ahrus. And the deen we do accept that the Quran is a multifaceted tradition, right? So as long as all the translations go back to the Prophet ﷺ, they all go under the Quran. That is the demarcations. So when you say that's the Quran, just because of different readings, they all are the Quran. Because
And you do realize that most of the Hafiz
She was left behind.
Let
The
me
other
open up. Let me
meaning
open
means
up.
She went with them. They're saying it's just the.
No, I'll open up an old manuscript.
Yeah, but wait.
The old manuscript doesn't actually have the actual
But what-
vowels, as you
yeah,
said.
Exactly. But what does the mean? Because remember, you have believed in variants. So he's showing you that there was a variant of a reading.
There isn't. If you write the ayahs, they're the same.
If you without the
Exactly.
Yes, I
So
know.
there
I'm
is
not
no
disagreeing.
variance.
But I'm saying when it comes to you have to when you read
You
it.
can consider it as one qira'ah and the other as
but
another.
this is the problem.
Yeah.
If you have a skeletal text, what you're appealing to.
Yeah.
If I send it to Morocco, if I send it to Saudi Arabia, without the dots, they're gonna have to read it. So when you put the dots in, that's how they read it, right?
Yeah.
So that means that's why you're saying. Because
Testing.
if you send the blank text without the dots, Muslims will not be able to read the full text.
He didn't just send a blank text.
That's why he's saying there's variance.
Wait.
That-
But between Imraha to Kara,
Wait,
Imraha
wait. Let me just finish
mate.
what I was saying. When you said Uthman did it without the text, without the dots.
I swear.
So when it was without the dots, it went to the nations without the dots. How did they read it?
They don't just receive the text by itself. He sends it with the Hafiz.
Right.
He teaches them.
And you said there was different recitations.
There were, and
So,
there still are.
so that
There still
means,
are.
right,
Still
exactly. So therefore,
You do understand that we have different recitations
yes.
with different words.
But this is
not
what,
even vowels.
yeah, but engage what I'm saying. I'm saying, so when you send out the skeletal text, you're saying there's someone that will read it, how to pronounce it.
Yeah, exactly.
You agree that there were different variants
Yeah.
of the way to read it.
Yeah.
So when you recite it, if you write it, you have to put the dots for the person to know how to pronounce the word.
Not necessarily, but sure. Let's say,
Yeah.
okay.
So if they sent out Hafiz to one place
Yeah.
with one recitation and one to another place,
Yeah.
when they write it, they're going to put the dots in different places
Not
for
even
other
those.
people.
So what the Quran I memorize is different. My recitation, just understand this.
Yes.
My recitation
Right.
is different than the qira'ah that he recites
Right.
from Morocco.
Yes.
Morocco
Yes.
is warsh, as you said.
Yes.
I'm Hafs.
Yes.
So,
But
so
when
we
you-
have even whole words that are different.
Yes.
But both of it is
Right.
Quran. Both are
But it's
preserved.
not. But
We do have changes.
That wasn't my.
We do have changes.
That wasn't my point. Was that people say it was letter for letter, dot for dot, exactly the same.
If you compare warsh and warsh, it's dot for dot, letter for letter.
If I compare Hafs and Wash,
No, you can't compare Hafs and Warsh. How can you compare Hafs and Warsh?
because there's one Quran.
No, there's one Quran.
The problem you
both as
cannot
a
do
whole.
nothing.
Yeah.
Paperboy, I don't know your name. Paperboy, I don't know.
Okay.
Listen, you cannot do nothing if we
Nitpicker,
claim it
let's
from the
call it,
beginning.
nitpicker.
No, I'm just
But
saying.
hold on, Christians
listen,
have claimed most of this stuff that you're saying from the beginning. If you read the early church fathers, they talk about variants in the Bible because they used to write out the scripts.
No.
The reason why you know John 8 is missing is also you can find it in the church fathers. So what I'm trying to say is whatever you're trying to apply to the
Mate,
Bible,
no.
when I apply it back to the Quran, you reject it.
You can't, mate. You can't come up.
Anyway,
you can't come up and say.
We need to
Let
wrap
me
up
just
anyway.
Speak
So
to your
yeah.
telespectators.
Because I've been here talking to him for 2 hours.
Listen.
All right.
You can't come up and start debating
Right.
the difference between imra'atuka and
I can give you even
imra'ataka,
more than that.
referring to his wife,
Right.
but in different sense, and coming and talking about some verse that has been omitted, or Luke himself saying that I'm just an historian who gathers with witnesses, like oral transmissions of witnesses,
Right.
which I find normal. But then you do believe that he's guided by God, and this is where the claim is.
Right.
I think you can't put it at the same level.
What
Definitely
is
not.
your issue with Luke?
I said to you, you can believe in some of the things, but you can't believe 100% what he's saying, because he's saying he's just a historian. He just gathered transmission, oral transmission from witnesses.
Right.
One of
And
the
that's
biggest
it.
issues
So-
is not
so
even
here's
the same,
the problem is-
one of the biggest issues it's not even the same
some of-
language as
Right.
was originally transpired.
Is that relevant?
How can it not be?
Okay. In the
some of
Quran,
If I
okay.
just translated the word letter and
Right.
harf as the brother said,
Right.
and we got the wrong meaning.
Okay.
How can
How do you know they got the wrong meaning though?
Of course you'll get the wrong meaning.
Okay, so let me get you
Many
busted.
things will-
In the Quran, Jesus
And-
speaks
and
to,
it's not
in
even
the
the wrong
Quran,
meaning.
in the
Let's
Quran,
talk about
no,
Bible,
because
because this is
I'm
what we're
exposing the
doing.
hypocrisy. In the Quran, on the Day of Judgment, for example, Jesus is going to speak to Allah. We see Jesus speaking in the Quran.
Yeah.
Did Jesus speak Arabic?
God knows. I don't know the answer for
The
that.
historical Jesus
Okay,
No,
speak
no, no.
Aramaic,
would have
speak
spoke
to me.
No.
right.
Okay.
So the Quran translates from the Aramaic to the Arabic, but he's happy that Allah can translate what Jesus would have
Do you
spoken.
understand from our
I
perspective
do, but
who is speaking in the Quran? Who is
It's Allah.
speaking? Exactly.
But so Allah can translate what
Exactly,
Jesus.
'cause-
But so
exactly.
you said, but there can be a mistake. So I said, how do you know there was a mistake?
No. I
Because
didn't
you're
say
saying in the
that.
Bible.
I didn't say
you
that.
didn't
So
say that.
I
You
didn't
didn't
say
say
that.
that.
Okay,
I
what
didn't say that.
clarify what you
say
said.
Our perspective and
Right.
our
Right.
perspective is
Yeah.
basically Quran was revealed in Arabic,
Right.
and it still is. Most of the people who memorize Quran
Yeah.
are non-Arabic
But that's not my
speakers.
point. My point was when Jesus speaks in the Quran, was Jesus originally speaking Arabic?
God knows, we don't know.
What do you think?
No, okay.
Because
listen,
if Jesus was a Jewish person,
was
he would have
speaking
spoke
Aramaic,
he would have spoken Aramaic. So in the Quran, when
Well,
Allah,
listen, the author of the Quran is God, so he's talking about him.
Exactly.
right? But here's the problem. Here's
No
the
one talking about
here's,
apart from God.
yeah, but
So God
the
said,
Quran
Jesus
is
said.
repeating what Jesus would have said in Aramaic to the people when he spoke, because it quotes Jesus speaking to the people. But Allah translates that in Arabic. So you're saying because it's from God, therefore it's okay. But
Exactly.
I can make that same claim. I believe the Bible is God, so therefore it could be written in Greek.
Who-
But you will say, no.
Fine, fine.
We
But
need
that's-
the
that's-
original
that's- no, 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 no,
Aramaic.
that's
But there's
the
a
point.
difference between
Right.
revealed to a prophet,
Exactly.
written,
Right.
listen, recited, and someone
Is
comes
that
up saying,
is that
"My
belief?
name-" Listen,
Or-
listen.
Wait, do
listen,
Christians?
listen,
If the
listen,
Christians believe the
listen.
Bible is inspired by God,
Yes, yes, I
then
agree.
we can say the translation is accurate.
But it's not
You
the
will
author
say
of-
no.
It's not really accurate.
Why?
No, so what's the point here?
Right.
What's his name?
What's the original language that the Bible was inspired
Aramaic.
in? Aramaic.
Right.
So that exact Aramaic word,
Right.
we can say that is the word of God. Once it's translated,
Right.
then it's the basically
No, hold on one
a
second.
transcription of the narrator.
Right.
himself,
So
or
then
the
and I'm
translator.
saying when Jesus spoke, that was his original words. When Allah recounts what Jesus said, that's a transcription of what Jesus spoke in his original language.
The author of the Bible, yeah, God. How many percentage the Bible that the God he's been talking in the Bible? I think it's about 20%.
Let's just go with that.
The author, yeah.
Let's no problem.
So for me,
Right.
the Quran and Muhammad Ahadith together similar to the Bible. So the Quran is
Right.
a pure God word,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and Ahadith are inspired by God.
Okay.
And the same in the
That's
Bible.
just a claim.
So the God,
Listen.
yeah, but do you believe that the
If
whole
it's
Bible is God pure word? It's not.
Inspired by God,
Otherwise,
right?
the problem
But the
is-
problem is,
But
the problem is,
listen,
but the
listen,
problem is, you are asking for the
No, the
original
50%.
Aramaic
Exactly.
when the Quran doesn't even give Jesus' language. Abraham didn't speak Arabic,
God-
so everything is in Arabic. So you're happy with the translation from
No,
because it's from
We're
God.
not- We're not happy with the translation.
Why? You're
It-
saying
we-
nonsense.
That's what's our
I will tell you the
perspective.
thing. I will tell you the things.
Right.
The problem is, if you had, for example, Jesus being the author of the gospel.
It's just a claim.
No, listen.
Right.
if you had Jesus
Already
being the author,
highlighted
listen,
so.
being the author
Right.
of the gospel, like you have in the Old Testament when you say, and the Lord speaks, said this
Right.
to, for example, Ezekiel or whatever,
Right.
at least you can see that textually it makes sense. And then after the discussion whether has been provided by a prophet,
No,
that's another
you're taking it elsewhere.
No,
The
no, no,
claim
no, no.
was the original language. Was it in
Listen.
Jesus'
Listen,
language?
listen.
Whether he
Already in the
said
Bible you highlighted it in red.
the point
Everyone
was
knows.
no, but the
You
point
highlighted
was
in red,
the
which
point
mean
the claim.
it's-
Let's
it's
go back
God
to the
or Jesus'
claim.
word.
The claim was because we have the Greek. Was that Jesus' languages? Because they said no. He said, how do you know it's accurate? So I then replied and said, well, if Jesus spoke in Aramaic and in the Quran Allah is speaking in Arabic, I can use that same logic. Your argument would be, well, it's from God. I can say the Bible's from God too. So then you don't have a
Which
recital.
one?
Why
Which
did you
one?
highlight
Which
it?
version? Which version?
We believe.
So we believe-
Which version? The House Duri.
No. We
I-
believe
yeah, right.
that the Quran
Yes.
came down in the Arabic language.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
That's
And
one.
I believe,
So
and Christians believe that Jesus spoke in Aramaic and it was translated to Greek. We can both.
because he was oral
we can
transmission.
we can play that game, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
but
Let's put
transmission.
that at the side. So
Right.
Quran was revealed in Arabic, and we have this. We claim this is the original version, and this is the only version.
Yeah.
Fine. So what
That-
you are claiming, let me
I
understand.
made the last point and I'll wrap
Let
up.
me understand.
Yeah.
You are claiming that the Bible was
Inspired
inspired
by
by God.
Yes.
In which language?
In Aramaic.
Aramaic.
Yeah.
Okay. So that Aramaic version, that's the original version of the Bible.
No.
Okay?
No,
Why
when I
not?
when
Why
I say
not? Why
when I
not?
say inspired by God,
Yeah.
it means the people that were able to write it in Greek were inspired. So it was accurately translated.
What do you mean when you say
So
inspired?
so inspired by God means the people who wrote. So for example, like you have hadith.
Yeah.
And someone wrote the hadith down at some point.
So
It was-
no.
So I'm saying when the Bible was written into Greek,
So-
it was still inspired. So therefore, we don't have a problem with the translation.
No. So what happened with the Aramaic version?
There was no. What I'm saying is this: Jesus spoke,
Exactly.
and his disciples wrote down what he's saying.
Okay.
Then it was translated into Greek.
That's the main problem here. That's the main problem
Yeah,
here.
but I'm saying to you, so there wasn't a book that was written in
Exactly.
Aramaic.
That's the main
I'm saying
problem.
it was spoken and then it was written
Aramaic,
down.
and then it was
Yes.
translated into
So I'm saying when Jesus was speaking in the Quran, it was Aramaic, then translated into Arabic by Allah. The problem is, your issue is with who was translating.
Correct. Same principle applies. Revelations, number one. And number two,
It doesn't matter. We believe it's revelation
I
too.
grant you that
Right.
the Bible was inspired by God, right?
Right.
That's revelation from God, right?
Right.
You have to grant me the Quran is the Kalam of Allah, it's the word of God.
Yes.
So it's revelation too.
Yes.
So you don't judge, that is prime source material, revelation, that is
Right.
inception, right?
Yeah.
What he's saying is, the Quran was preserved in its original form.
No,
Which
that's
wait,
not the
wait,
argument. No,
wait,
No, because no, because you said about how do we. No, but I'll let you answer that. But let me just cut off because I'll let you respond. But he said, how do we know it's an accurate translation?
No.
That's what you said. I'll tell you why. Let me explain why. Because you said no, but you said about the letters, about the Quran. You said even in translating it can cause issues.
No, I'm saying if once you translate it, it's no longer the original version. That's what I'm saying. It's no longer the word of God. That's what I'm saying. Once you translate so if you send me a message saying hello, and then someone translates it and sends me hello in Arabic, that's not your message. Your message is just hello. You understand me?
His claim is staked on preservation. You're saying
Right.
the Bible is preserved because of these guided counsels, right? These infallible counsels which are guided by the Holy Spirit, correct?
Who guys? Did you
That's what you're
say?
saying.
Did you say guys? Infallible
You're
guys?
saying
No,
when
guidance.
you translation.
Oh, okay. Oh, guidance.
When
Okay.
the translation happens, I guess you're gonna say you live in infallible counsels and they were guided by the Holy Spirit, right?
Yes.
So that's continued revelation.
Okay. What's the issue?
I'm asking you.
Let's just say yeah.
So
Go
it's
on.
continued revelation. Right?
Okay, go on.
Okay, cool. That's a big problem still.
Why?
Because then you can talk about the historical development of the Bible.
Yeah,
talk
but that-
about how the priests and stuff like that were subject to.
Yeah, but that's why I was talking about the variance within the. But I can do that with the Quran, but just keeping it simple.
He's not making that claim.
Okay.
His claim is simple.
Let me ask you a
issue
question.
with it.
Let me ask you a simple
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
The words in Ibn Masud's codex, were they from God?
They were from God through Gabriel to the prophet, from the prophet to
Do
the
we have
Prophet.
all the words of Ibn Masud's codex today?
No, we don't. We have.
Right.
He had
Right.
it in his own mushaf.
You're right. No,
Yeah.
no problem. But the
Yeah.
point is, words of Allah have gone missing.
Why do you just focus on Ibn Mas'ud?
No, because that's the one I remember. There's other ones.
Exactly. Even let's just go with that.
Do you understand how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of Muslims, Sahaba were
Yeah,
there?
but we don't have Ibn Mas'ud's codex.
Why are you focusing on
Because what I'm saying is that if there are different versions of the Quran,
No, there aren't.
you said Ibn Mas'ud was different.
What is your
Ibn Mas'ud was different, but in the end he agreed that
No
there are
problem.
actually 140, but he didn't want to burn the...
But even some of his verses were different, not just the surahs.
What is your claim?
Okay,
What is your claim?
I'll show it to you.
What's your claim? I'm guessing your claim is Ibn Masud had a different Quran, therefore there's a relation. No, what is your claim based on? Because
Wait.
he said Ibn Masud himself agreed that this is the Quran.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is your claim based on when a person himself doesn't claim this? Your claim of Ibn Masud, he doesn't claim himself.
Hold it.
Logic
No,
with this.
I'm gonna do a wrap up,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna address this because in case I have to go. So essentially, because it's been filming him for a long time. So, no, I'm gonna answer you. So we'll do another discussion. But essentially,
affect your fellow...
yeah, I'm just gonna do a wrap up because so essentially that first conversation with my good gentleman over here was essentially about the reliability of the Bible, because it started off saying, I said Luke was an eyewitness, and he claims that in the beginning of Luke, he claims that the narrative from Luke was from eyewitnesses. So he was then questioning how can we find it reliable, and I said when we look at the Bible, what makes the Bible more reliable is, one, we take things by faith, but it also makes statements which outside of the Bible have been confirmed. For example, the crucifixion of Jesus. The Bible claims that Jesus was crucified. Let me just do my wrap up. I'll engage with you lot in a second. So we see people outside of the Bible writing about the crucifixion of Christ. So I said, can you do the same to the Quran? Show me statements from the Quran that can be verified outside of the Bible, the Quran,
I can.
to establish whether it's historically true. No problem. We'll have a conversation. I'm just doing a wrap up. So essentially, now people can decide for themselves who have watched this whole conversation, whether he justified the good gentleman before, whether he made a positive argument or not. So on that conclusion, I'm going to wrap up.